Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to welcome back for the 10th time economist John Mitchell with M&H Consultants. John, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about the economy as we begin 2016. Where are we at right now?
Well, this is a long upturn, okay? We are in the 79th month of this upturn. We turned around the middle of 2009. Looks like we've had about 6 years of growth around 2%, which is slow in a historical sense, but it's been relatively steady. And the expectation is this has probably got a ways to run, that will continue to grow in 2016. We saw the new employment numbers come out last Friday, unemployment rate down at 5%, some signs of wage growth. GDP numbers we don't have for the quarter as yet. The Fed has started to change policy, raising rates for the first time in 9 years last month. I think that'll be a very slow process. And I think consumers are in good shape. So what we're likely to see is continued gains in consumption. I think housing numbers are looking pretty good, and that ought to keep on going. There's obviously some things to worry about with some of the stuff that's happening overseas, but we had additional declines in oil prices this week. Bad for North Dakota and Wyoming and Texas, but for parts of the country where we do a lot of consuming, that means some additional funds for consumers.
Okay, as long as we're talking big picture here, it's obviously a presidential election year. Does that have any effect on the economy, big picture?
Well, I don't really think so. In the sense that you're not likely to get major policy changes that are going to happen this year, and people will talk a lot about the economy and what they're going to do. But the thing you always have to remember is, the president's power to change taxes or spending, it's all got to go through the Congress. It's not something that they can sort of step in and change right away. I think the forces that are determining sort of how the U.S. economy is going to grow in 2016, a lot of them are already here and are not necessarily going to be driven by gyrations in the political process as we move toward the election.
Okay, very good. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you about Southern Oregon's economy and where we stand. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with economist John Mitchell. So, John, we talked about the big picture of the nation's economy right now. What about Oregon? How are we doing?
Well, Oregon's actually doing pretty well. There's the job growth update from Arizona State University. One of the things that's sort of interesting is, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho are all in the top 6. Okay, they're very strong performers from an employment growth standpoint. We don't have final data for Oregon last year, but Oregon probably saw employment growth near 3%. We've seen slow increases in building permits in the state. Population growth rate from the census has moved up to 1.5%, about double the national average. Personal income growth has been above the national average. Oregon is looking pretty good at the moment. Okay,
and obviously here in Southern Oregon, we don't have the numbers of Portland and Salem and all of that, and we're a little slower to grow. But how are we doing?
Well, if you look at the numbers from Southern Oregon in the last 12 months, in Medford, you've got employment growth over 4%. Building permits are up sharply here through November, up about 18%. You've got the Portland State population numbers show gains of over 1%, 1.2%. So Southern Oregon is experiencing, what a lot of places are: rising employment, rising house prices, rising construction activity.
A lot of excitement. It's just continuing to grow.
Yeah, it's as one travels around, it's been interesting, the level of sort of optimism and feeling good about performance. I mean, travel and tourism's been strong with the falling gas prices, rising incomes.
Sure. It's going to be a good year, huh?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is. There's obviously got to worry about some of the international stuff. Oregon will have a tax battle. In Oregon, depending on what happens with the petitions about putting in a gross receipts tax or changing the income tax rates. That's an old story.
Very good. John, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming back for the 10th time. Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.